I paid how much to move to the UK? Hi there, this video is about the skilled worker visa. Many of you asked me in the comments under my previous videos to share how to get a skilled worker visa to the UK. So today I'm going to share my experience, how I got this visa, and all the challenges that came with it, especially the crazy and unfair costs. So if you're interested in this topic, stay tuned. Let me introduce myself briefly in case if you are new to this channel. I'm Ukrainian and have been living in the UK, specifically in England, for more than 3 years now. Living abroad had been my dream since I was 15, but I was young and didn't know what to do, so it remained just a dream. As I grew older in my early 20s, I decided to pursue this dream and I started taking steps that I believed would lead me to my goal. One of the most obvious things to do was to learn English because this is a language of this country and I needed it to communicate with people. But trust me, that's not the only reason why you need to learn the language of the country you want to move to. Most countries require you to pass a language test to apply for an immigrant visa. And if you want to live in that country, you will probably need to work there. Unless you can work remotely for a company in your home country or somewhere else, or you have a business at home that generates enough income so you can live on. So my second step was deciding what kind of job I wanted to do so I could continue working in that field after moving abroad. Initially, I thought being a social media manager was a great idea. So I started my own social media agency, which I ran for 5 years. In the beginning, it was fun and interesting. But after 5 years, I had had enough. I realized that I didn't want to do it anymore. And I started thinking about another career, one that not only bring me joy, but also be useful abroad. I had always been interested in IT, and I had many friends in this field, so I decided to give it a try. That's what I'm doing now, and I'm really enjoying it. Another important step was deciding which country I wanted to live in. I considered the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. I didn't consider Australia because it's too far and too remote. The United States has nice climate in some states, but also has big issues with crime, terrorism, and shootings because it's too easy to buy weapons there. And now Trump is their president, so definitely no from me. Canada is too cold. So I decided to move to England, and I've never regretted my decision. I live in the south of country, and I can say that the climate here is quite nice compared to many other places. The standard of living is also quite good, again, compared to many other countries. But having the desire to move isn't enough. Here's where the struggle begins. I'm going to take you through the entire process and warn you from the start, it's not easy at all. You have to be truly dedicated to get a skilled worker visa. Again, I'm sharing my experience of applying and obtaining a skilled worker visa to the UK. The process may be different for other countries, but I'm sure you will find many similarities. All the steps I'm about to discuss are really important, so please don't skip any of them. Otherwise, getting a visa or moving to the country of your choice, here I will refer specifically to the UK, will be much harder. By the way guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. You can also support this channel financially on Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description. Back to the video. Okay, the first step, research visa requirements. First thing you need to do is to go to the UK government website and read all the information about the visa you want. In my case, it was a skilled worker visa. There are two ways to apply for this visa. Finding a company willing to employ you, but in this case, you will be tied to this company for as long as you have a visa, typically 3 to 5 years, or apply without an employer. But in this case, you would have to provide evidence that you are an exceptional talent in your field. The type of evidence required depends on your profession, and you can find this on the UK government website. If you obtain the visa through the second option, you won't be tied to any employer. You will simply have your visa and will be free to switch jobs as often as you want. I didn't have any necessary evidence. Nobody had written an article about me and my IT talents, so I had to choose the first option and find an employer. This was extremely difficult because not every company has the license required to sponsor a work visa. Obtaining this license costs a lot of money. So if the company doesn't have it already, they are unlikely to apply for one just for you. One way to find companies that offer sponsorship visas is through the UK government website. I will leave the link in the description. You can also try to find jobs elsewhere. I found mine on LinkedIn. But before applying, I checked the government website to ensure the company had a sponsorship license. A quick heads up. You may not find an employer willing to sponsor you right away. Don't get discouraged. Just keep searching. It took me 9 months to find a company, go through all interview rounds, and finally get a job offer. So if it's truly your dream, keep going, keep applying, and don't give up. Another crucial factor is the UK government salary threshold for each occupation. You can only apply for a visa if your salary meets this requirement. As I mentioned, the threshold varies by profession, but for most jobs it's at least £38,700 per year, which is quite high. For some jobs it's even higher. The good news is that if you're applying for a health and skilled worker visa, the salary threshold is much lower. Currently, £23,000 a year. This makes the job search even harder. Not only you need to find an employer with a sponsorship license, but also you need a salary that meets the threshold. Unfortunately, securing a job offer isn't enough. The visa itself is very expensive. You can check the exact fees on the UK government website, but just to give you an idea, the minimum amount needed is £7,500 just for the visa application and the NHS surcharge. And that's insane, especially the NHS surcharge. What is the NHS surcharge? The NHS, National Health Service, is funded by taxes. This means that once you move to the UK, you will be working, paying taxes and contributing to the NHS. However, the government requires you to pay for the NHS upfront even before you arrive. The fee is £1,035 a year, and if you apply for a 5-year visa, you will have to pay for all 5 years in advance. And that's just the basic cost without any solicitor fees. Most people don't apply on their own but hire a solicitor to ensure their application is correct. Because if your application is rejected, you don't get your money back. I don't think this is fair. As someone who wants to work in this country, live here and contribute to the economy, you shouldn't have paid twice for the National Health Service. It feels like the UK is taking advantage of you even before you arrive. Another crucial thing to consider is whether you have a family and plan to bring them with you. It may not be obvious at first, but you will have to pay the same fees for each family member. A friend of mine has a wife and 3 kids, and when he calculated how much it will cost him just to apply for the visa, without even factoring in plane tickets, he realized it wasn't worth it. Just the NHS surcharge alone would have cost him nearly £26,000 upfront. Then there is the visa application fee and the minimum amount of savings required to prove you can support yourself. In total, he would have needed more than £30,000 upfront just for the visa process. And on top of that, the family of that size needs several £1,000s a month to live here. I won't even get into how difficult it is to find a place to rent. That's a whole different topic. But enough about challenges. Let's say you have the money, you are ready to pay, and you have secured a job offer. What's next? The next step is passing an English test. Make sure to carefully read all the information on the UK government websites about approved visa centres. There are only a few providers accepted by the UK visa department. And if you take the test elsewhere, your results won't be valid. You will lose your money and have to take the test again. In some cases, you may need to travel to another city in your country to take the test. I know it is inconvenient and expensive, but there is no way to skip this step. The exam itself is relatively easy, depending on your level of English. You need to pass a B1 level test. And even if your English is at a higher level, only the B1 test is required for a skilled worker visa. However, be careful. Depending on your occupation, you may need to pass an enhanced test. That includes speaking, reading and writing, rather than just reading and writing. The enhanced test costs more, but if you take it and only required a simpler test, that's fine. But if it's the other way around, you'll be in trouble. You will have to retake the correct test, go through all the hassle again, and pay for another exam. If you are planning to apply for the skilled worker visa, don't wait until the last minute to book the test. you might find that the next available date is weeks away. And after you take the test, be prepared to wait for up to a month for your results. That was my experience when I took mine. By the way, if you would like to know more about the English test itself, let me know in the comments and I will create a video about it. Once you finally receive your test results, you can add them to your visa application. The final step is to pay for your visa. This is the moment of truth. You have carefully prepared all your documents, filled out all the information on your visa application, attached the link to your English test results, and now you have to make the payment. You send this huge amount of money, cross your fingers, or maybe even pray that your visa application is successful and you'll be granted permission to come to the UK, to live and work. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really means a lot to me. You can also support my channel financially on Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description, along with a link to the UK government website, where you can find more details about different visa types and how to apply. If you're planning to move to the UK on a skilled worker visa, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your story. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment, and I'll do my best to answer it. I wish you good luck and see you in the next video.